Watch me. Are you sitting here or here?
He's on the other side, so he says.
Okay, my second.
Hi, morning. How are you?
Hello, Minister.
How are you?
I am well, and you?
I was trying to figure out. Okay, so sit.
It's bigger, better, expanded. Productivity Awareness Week 2022 under the theme Expanding National Consciousness Towards Greater Productivity.
Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the launch of Productivity Awareness Week. And the Productivity Council is really excited about this week. This week is the first time in 2 years we haven't been wearing a mask and we have no restrictions. And so to start off, we want to have the national anthem. And it is La Marguerite. And the festival is here. And we have a very famous...
It's bigger, better, expanded. Productivity Awareness Week.
First, with the national anthem. Let us call on Miss Steffi Ann St. Clair.
Sons and daughters of Saint Lucia, love the land that gave us birth, land of beaches, hills and valleys, fairest isle of all the earth. Wheresoever you may roam, love, oh love, our island home. Gone the times when nations battled for this Helen of the West. Gone the days when strife and discord deemed her children's toil and rest. Dawns at last a brighter day, stretches out a glad new way. May the good Lord bless our island, guard her sons from woe and harm. May our people live united, strong in soul and strong in arm. Justice, truth, and charity, our ideal forever be.
Oh, I almost felt like saying play ball. Thank you, Steffi. Always could count on Steffi, melodious voice. And I know that you sat, but I will ask you to stand again when we invite our, I call him the resident pastor. And no matter how you call on this gentleman, he says yes. He's recently coming from leave, so he's fresh. We call on Mr. Kimbert Evans to bless us today.
Let's pray. Almighty God, by whom alone kings reign and princes decree justice, and from whom alone cometh all counsel, wisdom, and understanding, we thine unworthy servants here gathered together in thy holy name do most humbly beseech thee to send down thine heavenly wisdom from above to direct and guide us in all our presentations, explanations, discussions, during this Productivity Awareness Week. Bless all of us gathered here today. Open our hearts to the actions of your Holy Spirit. Touch and transform our minds. Help us realize our dependence on you, Lord. Make us aware of the great responsibility that you have entrusted to us. Help us come to realistic decisions for the good of our nation. Please fill us with thy fear, O Lord, that we lay aside all personal interests, prejudices, and partial affections, that the result of this Productivity Awareness Week may be to the glory of thy blessed name, the maintenance of true religion and justice, and the peace and tranquility of St. Lucia in true Christian love and charity one towards another. Guide us, Lord, as we make this prayer through Christ your Son, in the love and unity of your Spirit, now, always, and forever. Amen. May the grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the love of the Father, the fellowship of thine Holy Spirit, rest, remain, and abide with us all, now and forevermore. Amen.
A qualified pastor. Thank you so much for your blessing. Always make us set us off straight. So, welcome everyone to the launch of Productivity Awareness Week, and the week runs from October 17th to the 21st. The theme is expanding national consciousness towards greater productivity. Really, we want everyone to be aware that productivity is not the domain of the NCPC, it is everybody. And this is why Productivity Awareness Week is being held, to create that level of awareness. Allow me to start off the protocol and establish the protocol list. Honorable Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives, and Consumer Affairs. Ms. Fiona Hinkson, and she is the Budget Director and also the outgoing NCPC Director. I'm still getting accustomed to her not being there, but we now have new leadership. And so let me recognize the new leadership. Ms. Lisa Flora Montoute. Lisa, raise your hand, give a wave. Lisa is the new budget director for the new director of the NCPC. We don't have Ms. James yet, but we do have our guest speaker, Ms. Betty Comby. And Betty is going to really allow for you to understand what productivity is, what quality management is, and you will hear more about her later on. Some of our persons are not there yet, but let me recognize the St. Lucia Manufacturers Association. Mr. Barnard is here. The Bankers Association, Mr. Olivier is here. We also have senior public officers, persons from the NIP. We have from the Finance Department. We have from our energy unit in the Ministry of Infrastructure. And I see Fran from the Caribbean Digital Transformation Program. And here comes our partner, the Manufacturers Association, Ms. Paula Cauldron. Let me welcome all of you, our special, Ms. Paula James. I always do that. Why do I do that? Ms. Paula James. Paula James. Dear friends? Paula, forgive me, please. Let me also invite our media team and welcome them. We have a brand new media team. They're called the FAC Media Team. They're providing live coverage today for the very first time because productivity is about developing talents and upskilling. And so the team has taken on the challenge. And everybody else, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We have the opening remarks for you. And Ms. Fiona Hinkson, she's the budget director, but this lady lives and breathes productivity. And I know wherever she goes, the essence of what it means to be productive will go. And you will have a better budget this year as well, and a more efficient, productive budget. Minister, you'll hold it to that? We now welcome Ms. Fiona Hinkson to give some welcome remarks. Welcome her, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'd just like to acknowledge Honorable Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Corporate and Consumer Affairs, Ms. Lisa Florent, Director of the NCPC, representative from the Manufacturing Association, as well as the Bankers Association, heads of departments, senior public officers, other invited guests, and also our media. Oh, let me not forget our guest speaker, Ms. Betty Combi. Thank you. On behalf of the Department of Finance and the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the official launch of Productivity Awareness Week 2022. This launch is happening at a time when the world is experiencing multiple crises, which has led to high cost of living being experienced both globally and locally. The recovery that we expected post-COVID pandemic is being muddied by the ongoing war in Ukraine that has led to supply chain challenges and inflationary pressures. These pressures have led to increased energy food prices. The rising cost of food and fuel has had a damping effect on our disposable incomes and our ability to adequately provide for our families. If global conditions do not ease, then the impact would be devastating on small island economies like ours, as we work to take care of the most vulnerable amongst us, keep prices stable, and strengthen food security. Given those realities, how can a focus on productivity assist in providing the solutions we desperately need at this time? The theme chosen for this year, expanding national consciousness towards greater productivity, provides a clarion call for all of us to assess our current economic realities and come together to participate in identifying and implementing solutions that will strengthen our economy and provide a much-needed support to our citizens. We all know that productivity measures the relationship between outputs and inputs. Therefore, as one produces more with a given level of input, productivity will increase. There are opportunities in crisis. Therefore, our response and collective efforts can lead to non-traditional access to supplies and materials, increase local production, and tap into new niche areas that are not available locally. There is also the need to strengthen entrepreneurial capacities, and there are plans underway to support initiatives such as community tourism, MSME grant, and the youth economy. It is important that those initiatives be used to strengthen gaps in our economy that leads to greater productivity. We need to build capacities and strengthen our human resources with the required skill set as we push forward to enhancing our competitiveness. The gains with the digitization efforts at both the level of the public and private sector should continue. As we push forward with plans to diversify our economy, interventions in the blue, green, and orange economies need to be intensified. The government has partnered with a number of funding agencies in support of those interventions. A focus on quality is paramount, as you will hear in a short while. As Steve Jobs quote, "Everything is based on a simple rule. Quality is the best business plan, period." As we participate in the activities and discussions of this week, let us focus on the opportunities and craft implementable solutions that can expand food security, strengthen our economy, boost local production, and support the needs of our citizens while enhancing our productivity. So once again, welcome to our launch this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hinkson. And really, we cannot have Productivity Awareness Week without a list of activities. This year, we wanted to take it out of the Finance Administrative Center because COVID had kept us there. And we've been meeting from July, and we have Paula James and all the others on. And let me tell you something about Paula. This lady is so productive. This lady is working, and she never says no. She just says, how can I do it? And she delivers. And so we have this week, activities will be held out of the Finance Administrative Center and taking it, as the theme says, expanding national consciousness. So you will hear the list of activities, and I don't want to take any of her thunder away from her. the new NCPC Director, Ms. Lisa Flora Montut. Let's welcome her.
Good morning, everyone. Please allow me to adopt the protocol that has already been established. In particular, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives, and Consumer Affairs. The National Competitiveness and Productivity Council is indeed excited about this year's observance of Productivity Awareness Week. As this year's theme suggests, the strive towards greater levels of national productivity is by no means one to be accomplished by efforts of any one entity or agency, but rather collective effort and a synchronized approach. This year's calendar of activities is a testament of this collective effort, as we see the participation of not only our fellow public sector partners, but private entities as well. The activities for this week starts off with the official launch today, and later, between the hours of 2 to 4 p.m., a panel discussion focusing on the threats and opportunities for the blue economy in St. Lucia will be held here at the Finance Administrative Center. Recognizing the current role of St. Lucia's blue economy to the island's tourism product, key stakeholders and experts will discuss pertinent issues relevant to sustaining a vibrant blue economy, focusing on the many opportunities which exist for economic growth and development, mindful, however, of the emerging and current threats which can hamper its success. On Tuesday, the 18th, a sales productivity forum for vendors and other MSMEs will be held at the Vendors Arcade in Castries during the hours of 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Since October is observed as Financial Information Month, in collaboration with the Bankers Association of St. Lucia and the ECCB local office, an outreach will be conducted at the Vendors Arcade, bringing financial information and digital banking solutions directly to the vendors to help improve their sales volume and customer retention. Both vendors and bankers have expressed excitement about this timely activity at the start of the cruise season. On the 19th of October, a micro-enterprise expo, Bel Tibagai, will be held at the Castries City Hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. In collaboration with the Ministry of Commerce and the St. Lucia Manufacturers Association, 20 micro and small manufacturers will be given the opportunity to display and provide information about their innovative and unique products to the general public. It is anticipated that this visibility generated by this activity will be projected to improve the sales outcome of many of our fledgling manufacturers whilst boosting confidence and productivity. On the afternoon of the 20th of October, a cannabis symposium panel discussion will be held from 3 p.m. Organized by the Cannabis Task Force in collaboration with the Transnational Institute, the cannabis industry has been a much discussed topic over the years, with pundits calling for legalization and decriminalization of the herb. Coordinated by the Bureau of Standards, discussions will focus on the framework for establishing a viable industry, licensing and standards for entry, public safety, cultivation, and production are all on the table for discussion with leading experts, stakeholders, and the task force. On the evening of the 20th, another panel discussion on energy awareness, the reduction strategy, will be aired on NTN at 8 p.m. The cost of electricity has been cited as a major constraint to business success and profitability in St. Lucia, thereby impeding their productivity. The panel of stakeholders will discuss strategies for reducing energy consumption, the proposed new legislation, and alternative energy generation methods and technology. Finally, to bring a close to the week of activities, there will be an airing of Productivity Vibes from 8 p.m. on NTN. Productivity Vibes is the NCPC's monthly magazine program on the happenings within the areas of productivity and competitiveness. Please note, all of these activities for Productivity Awareness Week will be covered live or recorded for broadcast on NTN throughout the week. and will also be available on St. Lucia NCPC Facebook and YouTube handles. With this, I would like to thank the agencies who have lent their efforts to the hosting of this week's activities and encourage everyone to participate in these activities as we continue to work collectively towards a more productive St. Lucia. I thank you.
Now, you know, this is a very first. You are blessed to have the maiden presentation by the new director. Give her a bigger round of applause. Now, persons on the committee, I chair the committee, but persons on the committee know me as a persistent person. And once we've planned an activity, I really want to see it through. And I'm so happy to see our energy unit here. And we've been meeting virtually since July. And this morning I met Kern for the first time in person. And she said, "Hi, Glenn." And she's talking to me. And I'm like, "Who are you again? Just remind me." Kern, let me recognize a very hardworking person. And Kern is actually the one who brainstormed our theme, expanding national consciousness towards greater productivity. Give a round of applause. All virtual. And Lisa said something here, the director, that all our activities will be on our social media pages. As you know, we are clashing with La Marguerite Festival, and NTN couldn't be with us. And we are a productive unit. And so our IT guys at the back are carrying it live, and it'll be shared with NTN. Come on, round of applause. This is really, really good. And one thing she said that I really liked was that we're going to be discussing cannabis. And Minister, I have some plot of land, and I'm waiting to hear what the decision will be. So without further ado, let me invite Minister Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives, and Consumer Affairs, who will declare our week open. And we're so happy with Minister Hippolyte because no matter what NCPC has, she says yes and she turns up. Minister, let's welcome her.
Thank you very much, Glenn. And I must say the NCPC, you are lucky to have Mr. Simon as part of your team. A very productive and creative young man. So let's give him a round of applause. So we have a long protocol list, but let me recognize the head table in the director, Ms. Motut, and our guest speaker, Ms. Comby. Ms. Comby, and on the other side, I want to recognize Mrs. Hinkson, and again to thank her for all the work that she has done in the area of productivity. Let's show our appreciation to Mrs. Hinkson. There's a gentleman here. Okay, Mr. Felix. I also want to recognize Mrs. Paula James, who's the Executive Director of the Manufacturers Association. I recognize Mr. Bernard, a member of the association. Vice President. Okay. We have with us members of the banking sector. I'm glad that our friends from the Ministry of Infrastructure, Energy Unit are here, and the other persons who are in the room. It is saying that the marriage between public and private sector is now recognized, and I'm hoping that this marriage can remain together, grow together, so that, because this is critical for us if we are to move forward as a nation. So I want to thank all of you present this morning. It gives me great pleasure to be part of today's launch of Productivity Awareness Week. The Ministry of Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperative and Consumer Affairs has partnered this year with the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council in the annual observation of Productivity Awareness Week. Before I move further, I will tell you that I bring greetings from our Prime Minister and our Cabinet of Ministers, because what is happening here today is very important to all that you're doing. And that is why the Honorable Prime Minister has given me permission to come to Cabinet Lead, because normally, right now, I should be in the Cabinet room and not here. But we know that it is important, and he has sanctioned it, and he sends his best wishes for a successful launch, but also for a successful week. This year, we are elated at the opportunity afforded to our small manufacturers to display their innovative products to fellow St. Lucians and the rest of the world via live streaming. A special thanks goes out to the St. Lucia Manufacturers Association for collaborating with the Ministry of Commerce and the NCPC in this endeavor. This reinforces the value of public-private sector collaboration to foster greater productivity and economic growth. The theme for this year's observance, expanding national consciousness towards greater productivity, is well placed. As our country slowly emerges from the stranglehold of COVID-19, the supply chain issues and inflation caused by the Russia-Ukraine conflict, we as individuals, businesses, NGOs, civil society, organizations, students, and leaders must awaken our national consciousness to be more innovative, creative, enterprising, and to exude an attitude which constantly strives for higher standards and ideals. The NCPC seems to be on a roll, as it was not too long ago I was invited to be part of the launch of the Business Productivity Measurement Tool, Pro Tool, exactly in this room. And just last week, Parliament passed a milestone legislation spearheaded by the NCPC to improve access to finance by MSMEs. This legislative reform is called the Security Interest in Movable Assets. Today, I'm here again invited by the NCPC to the launch of Productivity Awareness Week 2022. This year's observance is most exciting and addresses issues such as energy awareness, the blue economy, digital banking for our vendors, and the framework for the cannabis industry in St. Lucia. You've heard a bit about the week and what we are trying to do in the cannabis industry, but I want to remind you again that on Thursday, the Cannabis Symposium starts. So I want to invite you to ensure that you get a link and to participate in the booth of this new industry for St. Lucia. Last week, we observed World Standards Day, and again, we had both the NCPC and others working with the Bureau of Standards and other government agencies to bring to the attention of all St. Lucians the need for adopting international standards. Whatever we are doing, whether it is the adoption of standards or increasing our productivity, we need to do it because we are competing in the world. Our products must reach international standards. It is only when we can sell and earn foreign exchange that our economy is going to grow. And what we are selling is both products and services, So the importance of productivity in all of that is critical. As I said before, I am pleased with the presence of the private sector representatives in this room today, especially from our manufacturers and our bankers. So on behalf of the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, it gives me great pleasure to declare Productivity Awareness Week 2022 formally open. Ladies and gentlemen, Amai Saint Lucie, Duva, and Sam, may God guide us on this journey. Vive la Marguerite, tout le monde.
Minister, you see why we like you? You've just made the NCPC and given us that national profile. So let's have a bigger round of applause for the Minister. Thank you, Minister, for your very gracious remarks on declaring the week open. Now, it's not normal that we have the highest official in the room speak before the featured speaker, but we wanted the Minister to take in some of Ms. Betty Comby and what she has to offer. But before that, the Minister hinted on Vive la Marguerite. And this Productivity Awareness Week is not in any way ignoring the fact that today is also La Marguerite. And our guest performer is going to treat us, and she's going to give us a performance that is going to take us into our roots and break up the little formality of the speeches. So now I now invite Ms. Steffi-Anne Sinclair to come up and to give us a wow performance. Let's welcome her, please.
No pressure.
Say into the front.
Children of Saint Lucia, Anu Shate, let's sing, Anu Dase, let's dance, Anu celebrate, let us celebrate who we are.
Mama la joie arrivée, Mama la à nous célébrer. Ti mamai wewe sous la peau, ti mamai wewe sous la bois, ti mamai la wewe sous la peau, il moule il pas bon, j'y bien qu'à manger ça. Moi dis maman, moi pas te vle coldon, moi dis maman, moi pas te vle jewi. Moi dis maman, moi pas te vle coldon, ich vagabond, j'y bien qu'à manger ça. Anti-pied poye, iteni de tifle, anti-va vini, i jete tout à te. Anti-pied poye, iteni de tifle, anti-va vini, i jete tout à te. Woi tindai, makai ba tindai, tindai pu tindai, makai ba tindai, woi dudu. Makai ba tindai, tindai pu tindai, makai ba tindai, Isabel bello, Isabel makai ba bueno, seba hu makai ba bueno. Mama la DY encore, DY toujours, DY encore. Mama la DY encore, DY toujours, DY encore. Les montagnes yo babier, c'est pas où m'y parler. Les montagnes yo babier, c'est pas où m'y parler. Walo jiwe yo, walo jabat mama, walo jabat papa. Mama la DY encore, DY toujours, DY encore. Mama la DY encore. Magotin na babat kabile. Kili do kili si mamele, anchebe a tet punaway, anchebe away punaway. Magotin na babat kabile. Kili do kili si mamele, anchebe a tet punaway, anchebe away punaway. Alakadu, 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 alakadu. Magotin na babat kabile. Kili do kili si mamele, anchebe a tet punaway, anchebe a kupunaway. Magotin na babat kabile. Kili do kili si mamele, anchebe a tet punaway, anchebe away punaway, anchebe away punaway, and buy a tibo punaway zaiwa, 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 zaiwa. Thank you. And of course, as a Margaret myself, I'm going to do one a cappella, just in honor of my grandparents, so I don't get cursed out when I go home. Margaret, sweet Margaret, Margaret is the best of all flowers. Margaret, sweet Margaret, Margaret is the best of all. Thank you.
That was a cold. Give me a warmer response for Steffi. Let me tell you, you're getting an international performer here. Dubai, where else, Steffi? Around the world. Steffi was great. A round of applause again, Steffi. Excellent. I think it was befitting for this occasion. And we're taking you along. I hope this broke up for you and made you refocus, because that's what the next presenter will tell you. Focus, strategy, quality. That was a quality performance? Yes, it was. So let me invite our feature speaker. I'm not going to give you any long readout on her, except to tell you she is Mrs. Betty Comby. And I say Mrs. for a reason, because her husband is being spoken about a lot every time this lady comes to the table. And she is a quality management specialist, and she's the managing director of Moores Inc. That's all I'm going to give you. Let's welcome her.
Good morning, everybody. Please allow me to adopt the protocol that has been established. Vive la Marguerite. Rosebach, working for repeat business, page 76, title, Responsibility. When my son Omar was hired for his first job as a copywriter with a digital marketing firm, he was excited. After about 6 months of working, when I asked how was work, he would reply, meh. I had a chat with him after hearing a few of those mehs. I stressed the value of having a job, apart from the obvious benefits of some financial independence. It provided opportunities, such as improving your skills, networking, working towards goals and objectives, team building, teamwork. I stressed that it was up to him to challenge himself in the job. If he was given a target of 5, he should challenge himself to a target of 6 or more, become his own competitor. His objective was to develop skills that would be applied to any work activity in the future. After that chat, whenever I asked how was work, he would reply, Mom, very productive. Productive, or not as productive as I would have liked. When it comes to work, 3 points should be stressed. 1, all work is a process. And a process is simply a set of activities which changes inputs into outputs. It doesn't matter what type of work, reporting, managing, manufacturing, banking, cleaning, lovemaking, housekeeping, it's all work, right? And they are all processes. You know, it is the quality guru Deming who says, if you cannot describe what you are doing as a process, then you do not know what you are doing. 2, all work can be improved. Improvement can take the form of using fewer or less resources, making less errors, enhancing the satisfaction of the worker, enhancing the value to the customer, making the process safer. All work can be improved. And thirdly, work connects us. Our output is someone else's input. If our output is shoddy or delayed, then it impacts someone else. If we recognize this, we then begin to understand why productivity is everybody's business and needs to be part of our national consciousness. A best practice for improving productivity is quality management, globally known as business common sense, and recognized as an approach to lean production. In my book, entitled Rollsback, and it's on the screen, I attempted to simplify quality management via a tool called Rollsback and spoke specifically to the worker. Rollsback is a mnemonic, as shown on the screen, and representing the elements of recipients' needs and expectations, objectives, laws, lessons learned, standards, background, activities, risk, resources, responsibility, and communication. Simply put, Rollsback is an everyday guide to doing work well and satisfying the customer or the recipient. Moving towards greater productivity takes us into the realm of change. And change management requires that we touch the heart first, then the minds, and then the hands. In the book, I demonstrate the value of Rollsback in our homes first. Hence, Glenn spoke about my husband. And then in the workplace. So in the time left, and Glenn has not given me much time, in the time left, I will demonstrate the application of Rollsback towards enhanced effectiveness and efficiency, and hence greater productivity. So let's begin. So each of us here is a worker, and we're expected to supply a deliverable or deliverables. Ministerial services, advocacy, banking services, management services, supervisory services, goods, budgetary services, we have here, the moving up, parenting services. This is the deliverable or deliverables that we are delivering. And one thing we need to note about this is that apart from being aware of our deliverable or deliverables, we should be aware of its intended purpose. Now, this is an important point I want to spend some time on, intended purpose. And I like to give the example of a bottled water. You know, a bottled water intended purpose is to quench our thirst. Not so? Now, think of it. So who are your competitors? Well, coconut water is your competitor. Soft drinks are your competitor. Maybe a shot might be a competitor for somebody else. You see, what I love about recognizing your intended purpose is you start seeing really who your competitors are, because it's anybody that can satisfy that intended purpose. And so communication becomes key. Hence, it's called the lifeblood of any organization. It is called the lifeblood of any relationship. Isn't that nice? So whom are you delivering to? And what are their needs and expectations? Now, I don't even like using the word customers anymore. I use the word recipient. Our recipient's needs and expectations. Because who is the recipient? Well, it's our customer. It's the co-worker. It's our children. We're losing our children, people. Focus on them as the recipient. It's our significant other. That's the value of this body of knowledge, because it's talking to satisfaction of the recipient. And so the R comes in play, recipients' needs and expectations, as well as communication. Now, is there any background information related to any aspect of your delivery? Background on the customer, background on the process, background on the product? We should do the necessary research. Remember, persons who have experienced it also have something to share with you. They have lessons learned. Let's not forget that. You can come in with all your qualifications and all your degrees, but the person who has been doing the work has something that you do not have. They have lessons learned. Respect them. Keep that in mind. We go on to specifically, what can you deliver consistently? And quality is about consistency of delivery. So what can you deliver consistently based on the recipient's needs and expectations? So we need to set objectives. And we're all familiar with SMART objectives. I'll talk about that later. But I must stress that our objectives have to be both output and outcome based. And this is a story I tell about in the book, where I was making this presentation to a group of Leon Hess students, and one of the students said to me, a threat to him completing secondary school is a go up well. Very real, a go up well. You know, and so I like using that example that a go up well is an outcome. The horn, that's the output. So you can deliver on the horn, but you can't guarantee the go up well. And customer satisfaction is an outcome. Keep that in mind. So when we set our objectives, they must be both output-based and they must be outcome-based. Please, it's about impact. Okay? So objectives, so important. Whom are we interfacing with to ensure delivery? It is our responsibility to maintain the relationship with persons who supply you with information and resources, as well as the person you are delivering to. It must be a win-win-win situation. Keep that in mind. That's the interfaces. Again, responsibility and understanding the human aspect of this, right? Everybody wants to feel appreciated. Everybody wants to feel value. So if something is working out for you, if you want it to be sustained, then you need to ensure that all participants involved, all stakeholders involved are also experiencing value. So we continue with our deliverable. So what is the acceptance criteria for this deliverable or deliverables that you are producing? The customers expect you to be the competent supplier. And as a competent supplier, you need to reference not just their needs and expectations, but they expect you to know about standards and the best practices associated with it. And that's the caveat within the confines of the law. Do not break the law to deliver. Keep that in mind. And if you're about effectiveness and efficiency, you must be proactive. And so what can go wrong? What could go very right? There are opportunities out there, and it was good to hear Fiona talk about the opportunities that occur in crises. And so what could go wrong? How can we strategize to address it? That's the risk. You notice? R is risk. Let's keep it simple, people. Let's keep it simple. Are we moving on? So what activities will allow us to deliver? Let's sequence those activities. Remember, it's a process, right? Process is simply a set of activities. And make sure it includes the necessary checks. So in the book, when I talk about activities, I also talk about the tool for continuous improvement. Anybody here? The tool for continuous improvement for a book. For a book. What is the tool for continuous improvement? Anybody? Nobody wants a book? Okay, we're moving on. It's unfortunate. Keep on. The tool, we talk about the tool of the PDCA cycle, the Plan, Do, Check, Act. That's the tool for continuous improvement. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. When you implement, when you execute, you simply do. And always check. And there are a number of things to check. We'll talk about those number of things to check in a while, right? But the checks have to take place. Okay, and always act to improve. That's the tool for continuous improvement. So if somebody lost the book there, we're moving right along. And the customer's journey to receive this deliverable. Understand what they're experiencing, people. It's all about an experience. It's no longer just about your product or your service. It's about an experience. And if you're thinking of an experience, you have to think of what it is they're seeing, what it is they're hearing, what it is they're smelling, what it is they're tasting. I'm telling you, 25 years in my marriage this year, and I'm still titillating all my man's senses. I'm making sure he sees things he likes and he hears things he likes, and he smells things he's like, and I'm affirming him. I'm building him up because his love language is words of affirmation. Think of it, it's an experience. And we're moving on. So what resources do you need? And in the book, I talk about the 4 M's and the 2 T's and the E. I'm a chemistry background. I had to put the formula in there somehow. And so the M, and actually this is a term that came from manufacturing. I just added an extra T. And so when we talk about the 4 M's, we're talking about manpower, in quotations, you know what I mean? It's human resource. Materials, machinery / equipment. What method? What technology? What time? We must bring in that technology in there, that digital age. Technology, time. What environment? So when you're thinking of the resources, think along those lines. And then it's about consistency of delivery. We must document. Documented information is needed. Work instructions, procedures, records. You know, when we talk about documentation, the question is, why do you document? Well, you document to communicate. I like to talk about the C's of documentation. You document to communicate. You document to ensure consistency of delivery. You document for continuity. You know, you document for conformance, for compliance. And when I thought I had captured it all, one person said to me, you document for CYA. You know what that is. We're moving on. And what will you check, right? And refer back to the acceptance criteria. You know this thing about acceptance criteria with my boys. I remember talking to them about, and I think, I'm not sure if I covered that story in the book, but it was cleaning their bathroom. And so I said to them, listen, before you start, we need to discuss acceptance criteria. And acceptance criteria is when I get into that bathroom, I'm supposed to take a fresh scent. Acceptance criteria is when I get into that bathroom, it's supposed to look clean. I'm not supposed to see mold on the tiles. Acceptance criteria is when I pass my hand along the tile, it's supposed to feel smooth. We need to begin with the end in mind, people. Let's make sure we're all on the same page, okay? And so the checks have to be done. And we're checking, you know. We're checking the inputs. We're checking the activities. We're checking the outputs. But a lot of us are failing to check the customer satisfaction, check the impact. Did you achieve the outcome? Very important, okay? And so we will make errors. Einstein says the only mistake made in life is the lesson not learned. We need to embrace our errors. Errors are opportunities for improvement. We like to call them the OFIs. Opportunities for improvement. So we will make errors, and that is okay. But we cannot be repeating the same errors over and over. It's not kosher, people. It's just not. We have to learn lessons, and we need to share those lessons so other persons are not making the same errors. And then just 2 more points to be made here. Glenn has just given me 15 minutes. I'm noting that. How will we review our performance? And that's why your objectives need to be smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. You know, my husband, we were walking along the Nelson Mandela Drive. I'm sure if I had to ask the question, where is that? I'm not sure how many of you will tell me that. Anyway, we're moving on. And so he says to me, so Betty, you're always talking about begin with the end in mind. So what end in mind you have for this walking we're doing? Who tell the man asked me that? I literally stopped in my track. I closed my eyes and I said, well, babes, I visualize you with a six-pack, wearing a tank top, so smugly fitting that I can see the bulges through. And he says to me, that's what you visualize, Betty? Aren't you the one who always talking about objectives have to be measurable? Is that measurable? What about lower our pressure, lower our cholesterol? I said, but I don't understand. You know, ladies, let me ask you, is a six-pack not measurable? There you go, there you go. Let's get real, And so I learned the word keg. Is that the word? Is that the word I heard? If you have a six-pack, you have a keg? Let's just say my husband doesn't have a six-pack. Moving on. Learn the word keg from Kent. And so how will we improve? Remember, it's a journey of improvement. Always remember that. It's a journey of improvement. Remember, it's PDCA, plan, do, check, and act to improve. And when it comes to improve, I remember the farmers, and I talk about that story in my book. When I met with the farmers, and I said to give them a choice of either love making or preparing a meal. Let's look at one of these activities. And it was the farmer who said to me, so miss, what do you do when the tool is not working? Very relevant question, We have a high rate of diabetes in St. Lucia, but very relevant question. And so I could pose that question to you, but I'll stop here. But in my book, a lot of strategies have been suggested with regard to what do you do when the tool is not working? I thank the farmers. I don't think anybody else would have brought up that question to me but a farmer. And so in conclusion, in that little bit of time that Glenn has given me, let me see. Two quotes from Roseback, Working for Repeat Business. And in keeping with the theme of this year's Productivity Awareness Week, expanding national consciousness towards greater productivity, they are. One by Stephanie Myers, and she says, the wasting of finite resources is everyone's business. And secondly, from Sarah Jen, and she says, you are solely responsible for doing the work required to become better. And with that, I say thank you.
Let me tell you, this lady has a way of making productivity feel sexy. Thank you so much. A bigger round of applause for Betty. And Betty has a book. She has flashed it, but we will have some giveaways in here in a bit. So before Betty comes on, let me tell you, we have international performers all lined up here. Next year, we'll be selling tickets to this event. So we now bring on Mr. Yannick James. Mr. Yannick James, renowned. Once you hear the name Yannick James, you know this is a violinist par excellence extraordinaire. And he has actually another event with La Marguerite. But he says, Glenn, I'm a productive guy. This is productivity. I must be here. Mr. James is setting you up. Are you ready? Let's invite him. Mr. Yannick James. Round of applause. Next year, we're charging $100 entry. A bigger round of applause for Yannick James. Excellent, excellent performance. Okay, so Minister, thank you. Minister has to exit now to go to Cabinet. Minister, thank you very much for... Yes, and before she leaves, Minister, Betty, would you like to come forward? And when Minister comes forward, you would present to her right in the front so our cameras could get you. We have a gift for you, Minister. So Betty will be giving a copy of a book to Minister. Round of applause, please. Thank you. And I must thank Minister as well. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the day, everyone.
Now, we have some strategic partners who we've asked for them to graciously endorse us. As I said, this year, we're taking many of our activities outside. And so one of our strategic partners is the St. Lucia Bankers, the Bankers Association of St. Lucia. And I invited Peter Iper Isaac. And here he is, the president of the association. Let's give him a round of applause for attending. And he has been so excited about this activity with the bankers. And the bankers decided that this month, being Financial Information Month, they will partner with us and they will going directly to the arcade this year and actually try to build the sales productivity of the vendors. And I know this is exciting for you, IPA. So let me welcome our first person, Mr. Nigel Oliver, to give us his endorsement, and he is the Public Relations Officer of the Bankers Association of St. Lucia. Let's welcome him.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Simon. Probably a little difficult for me after that violin performance to take you back down to that level, but I won't be long. Let me just also acknowledge Ms. Mantut, the Director of the National Competitiveness Productivity Council. On behalf of the Bankers Association of St. Lucia, let me thank the NCPC for inviting us to partner with them this year for the 9th edition of the Productivity Awareness Week and to participate in this launch. We also congratulate the Council on staging the event this year. This week of activities comes at a good time following the challenges of COVID and the need for all businesses to improve their productivity in order to overcome some of the new challenges that we now face. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank typically observes Financial Information Month every October. And during the month, members of the licensed financial institutions take part in a number of activities in an attempt to inform the public, up to and including radio programs, various panel discussions. We also go to schools. And it is really a pleasure for us this year to be able to partner by way of partnering with the NCPC to go to the Castries Vendors Arcade tomorrow. We're really looking forward to that event where a number of our members will send employees to engage the vendors to educate them on some of the products and services that we offer that should be able to make life easier for them, make payment methods more convenient, and certainly to get them into that digital space. All of our members offer some form of online or mobile application which allows for payments to be made, monies to be received, and other convenient methods of doing things like paying your utility bills. And so, I mean, COVID has taught us so much, and I think as member organizations, we have all accelerated the space of our digital space to allow for the convenience of our, Betty says she don't like to use clients. So what's the replacement you had there? Recipients, yes. It sounds a little more personal. Yeah. So yes, because all aim towards ensuring that, you, the recipients of those products and services, feel like you're really getting something out of it. And so we're really looking forward to that event tomorrow. And let me just say that, I know that it is not easy, to stage these activities. And so, we're really proud of the NCPC to be able to pull this off, and so happy that we are a partner this year. We want to congratulate them on being able to do this week of activities, and we want to wish them all the best, and to also let them know that besides just partnering this week, that we are available to partner throughout, as we recognize the importance of that type of partnership to the country and the people of the country. So call on us at any time if you feel that we can add value to whatever you're doing, besides our being just there tomorrow. As part of our goal for the coming year, we have embarked on a number of engagements with different bodies. And so, we want to ensure that we're out there advising persons of, our products, services, the information, because we think education is part of the challenge we face in terms of how we are viewed by the general public. And we intend to try to improve on that and make that change in the coming period. So once again, thank you very much. We really do appreciate this partnership, and we are looking forward to a successful week, and we wish you a successful week. Thank you very much. And before I step down, let me just applaud the performers. They were outstanding. And I particularly loved violin music, so I was really, just nodding my head and tapping my feet. It was really good. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed it was. Now, Betty, we have some more work for you, because you said you wanted that six-pack from your husband, so we're going to make you exercise so you match him. We do have a presentation to the Bankers Association, and so our cameras will capture you as you make that presentation. Round of applause to them. Now, as the master of ceremonies, I have leeway to do a number of things that are not on the program. And so, with Peter, Ras, Isaac in the room, and the bankers saying how they appreciate this, let me tell you, this gentleman, from the time I mentioned to him that the activity was going to be, watch the smile on his face. He has been overjoyed. Peter, I want to impromptu you. Come and say something about this collaboration that the bankers are doing and how you appreciate it. Let's welcome him. He's not officially on the program, but he's always there. And believe me, he's always ready to speak. I give you 2 minutes. I know you could go longer than 2 minutes.
Good morning to all. Thank you very much. I don't think I did much in terms of introduction anymore, but I just want to say thanks to everyone. Thanks for the, giving us the opportunity in terms of this collaboration that is going to get my vendors really on board. I mean, we did that in a biennial general meeting. We said that we want to embrace the whole question of, the digital global economy, and now it's couldn't be more timing now. Just last week, early last week, the middle of the week, a vendor was telling me, I lost 5 sales because we don't have that connectivity in terms of the digital, operation. So I am so elated by what is happening now and what will continue to happen and make life so much easier for people who are in the informal sector, the micro business sector, whatever you want to call it. And normally we say vendors, so it's a bit touching everyone that way, easier. So thanks very much again for the collaborative effort to really, and to come and decide that you want to start this whole project or program at the Vendors Arcade to benefit the people like us. Sometimes they almost want to call us voiceless and so on. So I always have been the voice of the voiceless. and so I just want to say thanks again. And I appreciate all of you. And I hope that this kind of, looking after each other will be something that will be the nexus of our operation in St. Lucia. We're in a small country, and we are so neatly connected and related to each other that we'll be able to start thinking of each other in every sphere of the society. Thank you very much.
And Peter, we have you down. So we cannot talk productivity and not give you a productivity tool. Round of applause. And make sure that the vendors get to, one, get a copy, but also they actually use that to spur their productivity. Now, I mentioned Paula James. She knows sometimes I make a mistake and I say the other one, and she always says, quickly. But Paula has decided not to speak today. She has spoken enough, right? And we have Mr. Barnard, you going to speak, or Paula is speaking? Paula is speaking. Paula, let me tell you, hard-working lady. But you know you are our former council member, and so we will not forget you at all, and we will acknowledge you. So let's welcome the Manufacturers Association Executive Director, hard-working lady. She holds many hats, and she has planned a marvelous activity, which is coined Bell Tibagai. She'll tell you about it.
Good morning, all. Why are you all smiling? Okay, that's my signature. I love to smile. And Glenn, thank you for inviting me. When Glenn made the call, anything to do with manufacturing and productivity is yes. Because we thrive as manufacturers and service providers on productivity. We cannot say no. Any product, any service you offer, it is time-bound. It is quality-bound. It is exceptional that you give your best. We must work with quality and standards because the end product, be it service or manufacturing, must be impeccable. And to us, productivity is number one. So that was easy for us to say yes, and for me to be a part of this, no matter what happens within the Ministry of Commerce and the NCPC, we are a part of. We are a part of a lot of things to make sure that St. Lucians appreciate and understand what we give and what we do. Because manufacturing is tough. It became even harder for us to look for other doors and windows during COVID. COVID, I thought I would have lost my hair. It was all about food security for the country. And if we listen to what's going on globally, it is even more a challenge for us to think of materials. How do we get stuff in? How do we make use of what we have locally? So productivity is not just about making something. It is doing, ensuring that you have things there and you can produce what you say you will produce with quality and a standard. Nothing that we do in the sector is without a standard. That is why we work very closely with the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards to make sure that all our members started from the first standard, which is labeling. The second standard is what's in the product. We must tell John Public what's in the product. So your label have to be correct. It has to be attractive. It has to be based on international standards. Because we're talking about micro manufacturers. Out of that 20 persons that will be showcasing their products, 6 of them already exporting. We have quality. And we need to embrace that and give them the opportunity. That's why I said, yes, Glenn, we will showcase. We were initially going to go in the Constitution Park, but with all the rain falling, we decided, let's not take a chance. Let's go into a covered area and just let people come in and see what we can do and what we are doing. And for me, that was key to be a part of this activity because services and products and manufacturing is key to our nation. Being micro, it is not a one-man person. They at least employ 2 persons. So the micro manufacturers and service providers do employ people to provide you their service or their product. So they are generating income, they are contributing to the GDP, and they are helping our youth because I'm seeing a lot of young persons coming in with phenomenal ideas. And this is when I saw the bankers, I said yes. Because a lot of them, access to finance is a huge challenge. So when we talk about helping them with that, we try to get people like Betty to come and explain to them how do you synchronize your product and your activity to make sure that when you face the bank, you're able to provide what they're asking you for. So for us, it's a lot of training, a lot of dedication, and a lot of commitment, but we strive on the training and the quality. So the productivity comes in to be able to complete that product. But bigger for us is the standard and the quality. So for me, it is a pleasure, and I look forward to Wednesday, where you can see the products, and I'm sure some of you might be passing them in the supermarket that not even realize this is locally produced. Because the quality is that good. We can compete globally. We continue to compete globally. We have just as many ISO standards within our manufacturing sector as any of the products coming in from the UK, from Europe. We have that standard because a lot of our larger manufacturers export worldwide, and they have standards. So ISO standards is key for us, and our micro manufacturers must have a quality standard. So when you buy their product, know they have gone through the rigors of Bureau of Standard, public health. So that is key for them and for us as a sector. So I'm looking forward to Wednesday, and I do hope a lot of you will come in and buy some teas, buy some confectionaries, and see the phenomenal work that we do in St. Lucia. Thank you.
And so the manufacturing sector, we're asking for you to share the information, and we have a book offering for you. Betty, just stay one time, thank you. And we will be doing a few handouts now because we will be closing out because, you know, we will end on time. And we have our closing remarks to come. But we want to present another book to Ms. Lisa Flora Montoute, the director of the NCPC. And Fiona, you could start getting up and come around, Fiona. Fiona Hinkson, the former director, I could say that now, Fiona, she doesn't like me saying former director, but also the director of budget. Very productive lady. You have your own copy of the book. Now, somebody who has been a team member with us for as long as I have been at the NCPC, and it has been Fabian who has been there with us. But I'll tell you what, Fabian, I know you would tell me you would like Howard to come up and receive it on behalf of the department, right? Mr. Howard Wells from the NIP unit. NIP has been a strategic partner of the NCPC, and we're almost like brother agencies. Howard Wells. Not sister, brother. And I would like to present one to our resident pastor. He works in the research and policy unit, but this gentleman never says no to anything. And Mr. Kimbert Evans, we appreciate you. And we would love to give you a copy that the research and policy unit could be even better than before. And I have one more person here. She's not in the room as yet. Or she is. Yes, she is. And we work along with a unit, a project called the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project. This project you will hear a lot of as the time goes by. It is a project that's going to touch many lives. It talks about entrepreneurship, it talks about digital infrastructure, it talks about having persons like the vendors to become more computer literate and be able to access services. And the lead, the coordinator of that project is Ms. Francilia Solomon. Fran, you're a strategic partner with us, and we'd love to provide you with a copy. And I'm not seeing one person, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to mention her anyways. She must be outside working hard, a productive lady. Will you pick it up and take it in her absence? our admin secretary, our admin assistant, Miss Aja Payne. She is sitting right here, but I know she's preparing stuff for you. The director will take it in her absence. This lady has been a hardworking lady throughout. All right. Thank you very much. Round of applause, everybody. And Betty, as you saw, is the one who came up presenting because she wrote this book. It has been a labor of love for many years. It's copies are available, so you could contact Betty and she'll be able to tell you how to get it. It is a very useful book, a strategic book that will allow for you to increase your productivity in any field. And to close off, we now invite one of the persons who has championed the. Could I recall something? Betty, come up, please. Aja is in the room. I would really want you to be on camera, Aja. Aja, representing you with a copy of Rose Bach. Round of applause for Aja. You would not know Aja except for her emails. Miss Professional, Miss Dedicated to the work of the NCPC. Thank you for that. And now I bring on, for closing remarks, Mr. Fabian Felix. Let's welcome him.
Good morning to all. I'd like to acknowledge Mrs. Lisa Flora-Motut, Director of the NCPC, and Ms. Fiona Hinkson, Budget Director this morning, and to all of you here this morning. Productivity Awareness Week 2022 aims to challenge our national ingenuity, creativity, and confidence as a people to reclaim the gains we lost due to the pandemic and the ongoing conflict in Europe. The theme, expanding our national consciousness towards greater productivity, calls for renewed thinking, trailblazing solutions to improve national productivity all through our collective efforts as a resilient people. The planning of Productivity Awareness Week was in itself a concerted effort, demonstrating that productivity isn't the sole domain of the NCPC, but it weaved through the beautiful tapestry of our nation's public and private sectors, NGOs, civil service organizations, and our everyday people working hard. It is my honorable duty to formally express thanks to the many people who made this week a reality. Not here right now, but I'd like to acknowledge Honorable Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Commerce, Manufacturing, Business, Development, Cooperatives, and Consumer Affairs for graciously declaring the week open. Our Permanent Secretary within the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Youth Economy, Mr. Francis Fontenelle, for your support of the work of the NCPC. Ms. Fiona Hinkson, thank you for your words of welcome. And remember, you'll always be part of the NCPC family. Our performers, our in-house songbird, Ms. Stephian Sinclair, and musical maestro, Mr. Yannick James, for your excellent performances. Mr. Kimbert Evans, for blessing the launching of this event and the remainder of the activities to come. Mrs. Betty Comby, for delivering a feature address that underpinned the salient messages of productivity in the workplace and in life. Ms. Paula James, of the St. Lucia Manufacturing Association and the Bankers Association, Mr. Olivier, for your sterling participation and encouragement throughout the planning process, and Mr. Bernard as well, I see here. The Ministry of Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives, and Consumer Affairs for your tremendous support. The National Integrated Planning and Program Unit, the NIP, within the Department of Finance for your invaluable support. The Energy Department of the Ministry of Infrastructure for being a strategic partner in this event. Special thanks to the hardworking committee members I'd like to mention here. Chairperson, none other but Mr. Glenn Simon from the NCPC. Put your hands together for Glenn again, please. Come on. Ms. Aja Payne, who handled both logistics and administrative matters. We also have Ms. Marina Suraj, and Ms. Sharma Mathre, all of the NCPC who provided support in the background. Thank you. Of course, Mrs. Lisa Flora Montoute, again, Director of the NCPC, for total support in the activities and the activities to come. Thank you, Mrs. Montoute. We have Mrs. Kern Antoine Gabriel, Energy Officer within the Ministry of Infrastructure, for taking the lead for the panel discussion on energy awareness and reduction strategies. Please look out for that event. Thank you, Mrs. Antoine Gabriel. Mr. Howard Wells, Director of the NIP, and the staff of the NIP, for planning the event on the threats and opportunities of the blue economy, slated for 2 p.m. today. Please log in or please attend. Thank you, Mr. Wells. We also have Mr. Lloyd Eugene of the Ministry of Commerce, and also Ms. Paula James, who I mentioned, Executive Director of the St. Lucia Manufacturers Association, for planning the Micro Enterprise Expo. You've heard it before, dubbed Bel Tibagay. Thank you. We have Ms. Vernell Joseph from the Bankers Association and Mr. Everton Seeley of the ECCB for spearheading efforts for digital banking outreach to the vendors arcade, well, which will be held at the vendors arcade. And also, Mr. Peter Ras Iper Isaac, President of the Vendors Association. Thank you for gracing us with your presence this morning. On the topic of marijuana, we have Mr. Marciano Busby from the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards for coordinating the panel discussion on the framework for St. Lucia's cannabis industry, another event to look out for. Many thanks goes out to all the other supporting members of the planning committee, Mr. Ken Aldonza, Mr. Jeremiah Hunt, and Mr. Egbert Stevens. We also have internally Miss Lana LaForce, who provided logistical support for this event. The IT department within the Department of Finance for the constant and reliable IT support and for covering this event this morning. Thank you so much. We also have our service providers, Jerona Antal of Decor Delivered, Priscilla's Catering, Ms. Franz Solomon, thank you for assisting with the whole digital transformation initiative. Thanks to all our panelists and moderators for the week to come, and you, our audience, thank you for being here in person, and those who are listening online, thank you. Sincerest gratitude goes out to the media for providing coverage of this event and for the week of activities to come. And thank you for being such a wonderful audience. Do enjoy and participate in the rest of Productivity Awareness Week 2022. Remember, you can also join the discussion on NTN, Facebook, and YouTube, and on the Government and St. Lucia Network, on the pages of NCPC as well. I thank you very much. Enjoy.
When I tell you that NIP is a strategic partner, I swear he was part of NCPC there. He was just flowing. Round of applause for Fabian Felix. He has been one of the persons who've been on the panel, the planning committee for quite a while, assisting the NCPC. And do you like the decorations in here? Very innovative. This is a young person starting off Decor Delivered, and she has, for the first time, done this work for us. And I think it is a wonderful job. I was just surprised and wowed. Let's give her a round of applause in her absence. And as Paula said, there are a lot of people doing quality work in St. Lucia, and we need to recognize them and see how it is that we could promote them. This takes us to the end of our official launch for Productivity Awareness Week. We invite you to the back so that you could get some refreshments, and thank you so much. Please stay tuned to NTN for the activities of the week, as well as join us live on Facebook, St. Lucia NCPC, and on our YouTube pages for the rest of the week for the activities. Thank you very much, and have a productive day. Bye, everyone.
It's expanded Productivity Awareness Week 2022, October 17th to the 21st, under the theme Expanding National Consciousness Towards Greater Productivity. Productivity is simply increasing your output while maintaining your level of inputs. On October 17th, we launch Productivity Awareness Week, followed by a lively discussion on opportunities and threats in the blue economy. Bankers descend on the Vendors Arcade for digital banking solutions on October 18th. The Castries City Hall will be a buzz of activity on October 19th. Belty Bagay, a showcase from over 20 manufacturers displaying their products. But don't you miss the discussion on energy awareness, the reduction strategy on October 20th. And on the same day, we expand your consciousness with a timely discussion on the cannabis industry in St. Lucia. Productivity Awareness Week, October 17th to the 21st, 2022.